CA Technologies as CA Technologies as a developer, and then I did my MBA from IIM Calcutta, and then I switched to product management. So product management, I started my journey as a product manager at Snapdeal, where I launched a bunch of features like image reviews on Snapdeal. If you know Snapdeal, it was the competitor of Amazon and Flipkart. Currently, I think yeah, it's not doing so well. But yeah, I learned a lot from Snapdeal. We also launched something called a mall, right? I mean, e-mall for customers, which is you don't need to go to Uber, Ola, Book My Show for any of the experiences. On Snapdeal, you could order a ride, you could order, food, you could book movie tickets, yeah, multiple things, even flights, you could book flights from there. So it's kind of a, mall experience that I was trying to build on Snapdeal. It was a, hit at that point. And then I moved to ADP, where we were building financial products, payroll products. We were building a next generation payroll product. And then I switched to Amazon. At Amazon, I lead a product team at the moment. We are trying to automate customer service with chatbots, with planning software. So we have forecasting algorithms. We have MLAI algorithms that forecast number of customers who are going to contact Amazon. And then we have scheduling software, optimization software that understands how many associates I need to hire at different parts of the world, and in a cost optimal way, schedule them so that any customer who's calling Amazon will not wait for more than 60 seconds. So that's why you must have tried to call Amazon at any moment of time. We strive our best, whether it's chat or calls, we ensure that the customer doesn't wait for more than 60 seconds. Right. So a lot of work goes in the background to make that happen. And my product, we call it Amazon Vibe internally. And yeah, this is a suite of products that I and a team of product managers that I lead are building. So yeah, I mean, it has been a fascinating journey from a software developer to a product manager. So yeah, I thought my experience will be helpful to some of you who are pursuing a career in product management. Some of the ground rules for today's conversation. Let's keep it interactive. Uh, don't wait for the end of the session, right? And this is I think the last time I did it, it took me 1.5 hours. I'll try to keep it short. But yeah, if needed, if folks are interested, we can have more follow-up sessions. I'm available the same time next week, Saturday. So let's do it. But yeah, I mean, don't hold back from asking questions. Raise your hand. And Saif, can I ask you to just moderate and let me know whenever there is a question from anyone? Happy to answer. Okay. Okay, so let's just go to the agenda of the session, right? So first thing, what is a product manager role and what does it mean to be a product manager? Let's also cover what does a product manager do on a day-to-day basis. And now the next question will be that I want to be a product manager. What should I do to become a product manager? Let's answer that. And how do you become a product manager, right? I mean, what kind of interviews, what kind of experience do I have? Do I need an MBA? And within product management, I also want to cover a few basics like product design, product strategy, product roadmap. These are like, pillars of a product management role that anyone should be aware of. So let's cover them. And also there, a wealth of suggested readings that I wanted to share with this team. And yeah, I mean, happy to also, have take any questions, and if anyone needs a call one-on-one, happy to help, right? So ultimate goal of this session is that people walk out of this session understanding what it means to be a product manager. And if you are really aspiring for this role, I think you need to have the tool set, to become a good product manager, right? To where to start. You have some of the basic frameworks, and then yeah, you can start tackling those interviews. And yeah, it'll require obviously a lot of preparation, but yeah, this is just to give an overview. So yeah, let's start with this quote, right? This is from Deep Nishar, Vice President of Product at LinkedIn. He says, a great product manager has the brain of an engineer, the heart of a designer, and the speech of a diplomat, right? A very powerful statement. And this is 100% true, right? So what a product manager does, it's also covered in my next, it's a mini CEO role, right? I mean, you are responsible for every aspect of the product. Now, what is a product? It can be a software product like Amazon mobile app, right? It's a shopping app. Anyone who comes to the mobile app, he's trying to find the product he wants to buy, and then there is an experience that takes him through the discovery, right? I find a product, I look at the reviews and ratings, and then I decide I want to buy this product, and then there's payment, there's cart, no, there's cart, and then there's payment, and then you are done with your product, the journey, right? So that's the product manager owns this experience end to end. He owns the application, right? He defines, okay, how should my product manager, what should be the ingress point? Where does he get in? Where does the customer get in? And what is the discovery path like, right? And how can he make it very seamless for the customer? And the reviews and ratings, right? Do I need to add video ratings? How do I increase the trust of the customers in my products? And then I take him to the payment. How do I make the payment uh, path very seamless? We look at what is the funnel, how many people are getting into the payments, and how many people are actually ending up buying, right? So we look at the funnel, we see at each point where are the customers dropping off and why, right? For example, the payment gateway that we have, right? It's faulty, right? Let's say out of 10 customers who come to the payment, only 7 are making it finally because of some payment issues. So there is a product manager sitting there trying to understand, okay, what are the bottlenecks at each click on the page, who is clicking how many times, where is the rather fall off, and we try to fix those issues, right? And at a broad level, I mean, this is what a product manager does, right? He understands first what are the customer requirements. He talks to a bunch of customers. He has he envisions what should be the experience. He works with UX designers. He works with you know product marketing, and then defines, these are the features I'm going to build. This is my projected revenue, and then he gets developers, right? And he works with the development team. Whatever he has in his mind, his roadmap, he converts them into features that can be built, right? That's where we call it grooming. He works with developers. He gives them user stories. Like for all the experience we talked about end to end on Amazon, let's say there is one small feature that someone wants to add, that on the payment page, I want to integrate cash on delivery, right? So that's a very small feature I want to add. So now a product manager thinks, okay, now cash on delivery, what should be the experience be like, right? The moment person comes to pay, he chooses cash on delivery. The next step is, yeah, probably you need to have a check if the order value is greater than 20,000 rupees. You're not eligible for a cash on delivery, or you have to pay X% of the money, and you have to show some ground rules of cash on delivery, and you show that on the UI that the moment a delivery person delivers the product to you, you should be delivering payment. You should be paying in cash or UPI, or yeah, whatever options are there, right? And then yeah, we take to the final, which is order success page. If there's order failure, there are two parts, right? Order success, order failure. You define everything, right, end to end, and then you make mockups. You sit with user experience designers. You design every frame of how the screen is going to look like, and there's a lot of debate that happens on where should be the button, what is the size of the button, right? How should I make it more prominent? Yeah, there's a lot of thinking process that goes in to understand the user behavior. How do we channelize the aspects of user behavior to the business's profit? So yeah, I think in nutshell, that's what a product manager does, right? He's a mini CEO, he or she, to be correct, and he's a defender. He or she is a defender of the customer. So let me keep using they rather than saying he or she. And they spearhead product, which is they take full responsibility end to end of the product deliverable. And yeah, this is like a jack of all trades, right? I mean, a product manager uh, understands the business. He is the liaison between business and tech, understands technology, understands user experience, understands marketing, understands sales, right? So that's why I think this role is very critical, and at the same time, right? I mean, challenging aspect as well, right? So you should be knowing almost everything. So I give a good example of a director of a movie, right? A director of a movie leads 64 crafts, right? There is choreography, there is camera, there is multiple things, but the director has a vision, and he defines how each scene should look like. He defines how should the audience feel at every moment of the movie, and then he defines what is the outcome, right? So similarly, product manager, right? He owns the end-to-end vision. So yeah, I think we're spending a lot of time here, but yeah, this is important. Uh, so what does a product manager do, right? To start with, they create a product strategy and vision. For example, there's, let's say, Uber app, right? I mean, the moment you open Uber's whole goal, the objective is to connect a rider to a driver, right? They take a person from point A to point B. Now, to make that happen, a product manager must have sat, talked to customers, understood what are your pain points today, right? If there's no Uber app, how do you commute, right? Probably people must have told him that, oh, we use public transport. I have to walk up to the bus station or my railway station, and then from there, I take a bus or a train and go to my end destination. So now, yeah, there's a lot of pain points, right? First thing, I need to walk up to a new product, to a bus station. Why can't I have something at my home, right? And let's say there's an auto that you call. You have to guide the auto person, right? Where is my home? So the product manager must have thought, okay, we have GPS coordinates, right? Why can't I build that experience in the app that a person, the moment he springs up the Uber app, the Uber app knows where you are, and then it has a list of drivers, a list of supply that they can provide, and yeah, that's how the end-to-end experience was built, right? So now the product manager's job is for any product to define the end-to-end strategy, right? The product strategy. What is my vision? So for example, for the product I was building, uh, 6 years ago, I joined Amazon. There's no product, right? And I wrote a vision document that we want to make customer service hands off the wheel, right? Which means currently there are a lot of people in the back end trying to forecast, trying to plan for how many associates we need to build, and even associates, right? The entire associate journey that even contacts Amazon, they pick up a call, they figure out what should I be answering. They have documents, they have go through them, they answer the question. In case the question is not answered, we have level 3, level 4 associates. They transfer the call to them, right? It's a huge, big process. So my vision was to, okay, let's automate end to end. There should be no human, right? From the moment customer calls to the customer has a satisfactory response and his query is resolved, it should be all automated, right? And I think even beyond that, before that, the vision was that first thing, they should not be calling Amazon, right? I mean, Jeff Bezos, Amazon CEO, had this beautiful vision that the best customer service is where a customer should not be contacting Amazon. So we started with that vision, and then we defined, okay, now to get to that vision, what do I need, right? I need to build a forecasting product. I need to build a scheduling product. So that's how we see. We start with the vision, then we create a roadmap, and then we work with stakeholders. We talk to customers, figure out the requirements, and then we work with tech, and we start developing. So yeah, they communicate the vision to stakeholders. We need a stakeholder buy-in, right? We need, let's say, Amazon CEO to understand what is the size of the problem, what is the benefit to Amazon if I have to go build it. Let's say you are working for Zomato, right? Or you are working for Ola. You have to go convince the CEO that he has to invest in this vision, right? It takes cost. I mean, it takes resources to build this. But what product manager also does is creates a total revenue, cost savings, or how much revenue can I generate. There are a lot of calculations that we do, right? If today, let's say, someone who created an Uber app must have thought about that, okay, in today's market, the total travel industry is of X billion, of which there is willingness to have this people commuting from their home to the destination, right? Which is untapped market, let's say 50% of that, so 5 billion. We make a lot of educated guesses and come up with the final entitlement, we call it, of building this product. And then we create a product roadmap that, okay, if I start, I have 15 features to build. Out of the 15 features, I can build 5 in 2025, 5 more in 26, 5 more in 27. Again, this takes a lot of analysis, getting estimates, right? Getting the cost, doing a cost benefit analysis, and then also prioritization, right? So I always have thousands of problems to solve. How do I prioritize the most important problem? And that's how I think if I have to pick one word for product management, it's prioritize, right? I mean, what we do on a day-to-day basis is prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. Always there are thousands of customers trying to reach out saying, okay, I have X problem, I have Y problem, but the resources are limited as always. So it's your job to prioritize based on customer impact, based on, yeah, the loss to Amazon. Yeah, we have a number of metrics that each product manager thinks about. and based on the goals of the year, we have certain goals, and then that's how we prioritize, right? And then the real job comes, right? Where now, okay, when you have prioritized, you have the funding, you have to now go build these features. So that's where the tough job comes. This is where the rubber meets the road. The product manager sits down and defines the product features, right, at a very granular level, and he breaks them down into epics, user stories. This is more of, I think, if people are aware how this is how agile works, the agile methodology. That okay, now there is a huge mountain you need to break down. We break it down into small chunks and say, okay, these are my Y features. And for each feature, now again, I break them down into user stories. That let's say I have to build a login page for Amazon app. So for the login page to be there, that's a user story, right? And I have to have very clear benefit that I want to build a login page on Amazon app so that users can come, give their password, give their login, or they integrate with logins like Google, Facebook, and they log into my app. So now for that to happen, yeah, there is a UI, there is authentication mechanism in the backend, right? The password needs to be taken, right? It has to be, encrypted, masked with the saved password, right? The number of things, right? So what product manager does is breaks each of the steps down into proper tech user stories, and then he sits with tech team, right? Trying to help them understand, okay, for each of this user story, what is going, what does it take for you to develop? And then yeah, a lot of debate happens, and tech then designs the entire solution. And so again, there are multiple roles of product management. There is product management tech, there's product management marketing. So product management tech is more about building these tech products, right? Working with technical teams to deliver more like a tech products. So that's why I think a product management tech is more rewarding, both in terms of monetary benefits, and also yeah, it's higher up in the value chain, right? In tech industry, I would say. But let's say you take something like a mobile phone, right? Nokia. There are product managers in Nokia. There are product managers in Samsung. We probably don't need a product manager tech there, or they may be having. I don't know, but yeah. So for example, where there's a properly business facing product, and we only want the product manager to face the business, get the requirements, and then pass it on to tech team. Yeah, we don't need a product manager tech. And there is nowadays there's a product manager data, product manager AI, and for all the products like the chat GPT, right? And we keep hearing about multiple, there is Copilot of Microsoft. So all of them have AI product managers, right? These people, truly define the requirements of, okay, what are the prompts that we want customers to give, and what should be the result, right? And they keep giving these requirements to the research scientists, to developers, and that's how the products are built. And next step is, you work with technology teams and UX to deliver great experiences. And then you create a go-to-market strategy, right? I mean, now you are building a product, but how do I take it to the market, right? For example, again, I'll take an Amazon example, right? So we are operating in about 46 countries. So where should I launch first? Should I be in North America? Should I be in India? Should it be in Europe? So that's my go-to-market strategy, right? Which country do I go to? Do I go in chunks, like where I pilot for 1% audience? If it's working fine, I bubble up, right? And then I make it 10%, and then I make the traffic 100%. So that's a very carefully drafted strategy on which markets to go to, how do I launch, how do I iterate on the feedback, right? And how do I make my product great? So yeah, we create very elaborate go-to-market strategies, and then yeah, we just work with. Let's say it requires some training on the customer's end, on the user's end. There's training team that comes in. We also work with legal to understand. Okay, I'm going in launching in Europe, and in Europe there are a lot of restrictions, right? So we have to go to a thorough review that this feature that I'm launching, is it going to violate any of the labor laws in Europe? So we have a proper review there, right? Let's say I'm going to launch in Japan. Are any of the cultural sensibilities, etc., right? Are they going to be met or not met? So we have to meet the product manager's job to interface with legal, interface with, marketing, sales, whatever it, branding, for example. And then yeah, you create the entire go-to-market strategy. And we gather feedback, we repeat, right? So yeah, I want to stop here. I see some comments. Any questions so far?
Yeah, one question. How do you prioritize the which is the customer pain points and which one will be taken first? How do you
Great.
decide that?
Okay, awesome. So yeah, great question, right? So again, it varies from team to team, but every team has their goals, right? For example, let's take the example of Uber, right? For 2025, let's say the Uber's goal was to increase the number of rides, right? Number of rides on the app. The number of rides can come through repeat users, it can come through new users, right? So now, if that is the goal, if there are two features, right? One which is increasing my number of rides directly, other one which is not having so much of impact on the number of rides, but it's generally improving the overall experience. Now, if each of them take three SDs, right? Three developers each for a complete year to build. Now, if you are the product manager, what would you prioritize, right? Something which is going to increase my number of rides by 50%, and something which doesn't have a direct bearing on my number of rides, but it generally it's going to improve my experience, make my experience hassle-free, right? So one, there's clear benefit. Two, there is, but not so much of tangible, I mean, tangible benefit. And hence, yeah, product manager tends to prioritize the other one, right? So, but again, see, it's not always straightforward. So, especially at Amazon, we have multi-layered prioritization framework, right? For example, we say always KTLO is a top priority. KTLO means keep the lights on. Any feature, any bug that is currently a pain point to customers in the product that you already launched is a top priority, right? The first thing, don't build new features, fix the ones that you have. So we look at, okay, KTLO is my top priority. Next priority will depend upon the goals, right? For this year, if my goal is to improve employee experience over saving more cost for Amazon, by employee experience will be my top priority, right? And let's say for next year, we decide that Amazon's bottom line is going down, I have to increase my revenue. So any feature that's going to impact my revenue is my top priority. So yeah, I mean, that's the tough job of a product manager, right? So always prioritize based on the goals that you have. I hope I could answer that question. Any more questions?
Uh,
Well,
does they look the ROI also, return on investment, while no, prioritizing the roadmaps?
Exactly. Yes. I mean, all we do is, yeah, when I say, uh, yeah, when I say impact, it's ROI, right? So let's say it takes two SD years to build. SD in Amazon term means software development engineer, right? So if I take two SD years to build a feature, which gives me 10 million in cost savings for Amazon or 10 million new revenue in Amazon. So per SDE, uh, my ROI is 5 million, right, per annum. So yeah, that's how we prioritize, right? I mean, if some feature is giving 5 million in cost savings per one SDE, and some other feature is giving me 15 SDE, right? It's always very clear, right? I need to go with the 15 SDE. We also look at 3-year savings and 3-year investment. Like for example, this feature, in the first year I do all the development, second year is just maintenance of zero point 0.1 SDE. So I club all the investments for 3 years. I club all the return it's going to give me over the next 3 years, and then we look at the ROI. Yeah, good question. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question, Asif bhai. Been 18 years with US largest investment and asset management company. I'm in the data management space, and my question relates to the point of understanding product management, right? So we have vendor products, and I report up to a product manager who basically manages that vendor product within our enterprise team and sees how that vendor product can then be integrated with our technical stack, etc. Right? So ideally we are not responsible for the features, but we do provide back to the vendor. So in that space, do we still consider this as a product management role itself? And if so, do we need to be I have a follow-up question, so I'll just let you answer that first here.
Yeah. So yeah, this is product management, right? I mean, you are working with vendors, uh, trying to understand how this fits into your tech stack, and you're enabling integrations between them, right? So, see, there are product management roles which build from scratch. There are product management roles that enable integration between products, right? There are product management roles that sit on the vendor side or on the customer side, but you're not actually building the product, right? There is product that someone else is giving. You are just trying to define how now this will integrate with my systems, and ultimately you own the customer experience on your end, right? So see, ultimately any product manager is a customer facing role, right? You try to understand what are my customer needs. Either now you decide whether you have to build, you have to buy, or you have to go integrate with multiple other tools. Yeah, that's I think your problem, right? Even I, as a part of my role, do a lot of build versus buy analysis, right? I mean, there's a use case. Do I go build from scratch from Amazon, or do I go buy multiple products? Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, it's a pure product management role. So go ahead, you're with following.
The next question is probably you can take it later in the session as well. The question is, should one be more concentrated on the vendor product, or should that person be more concentrating on the capability itself? Because in today's space, we see that the vendors keep changing, the tools keep changing, but rather the capability continues to live on, right? So we always have been told with the fact that, we have to concentrate more on the capability rather than on the product itself. So can you just help us understand how we can do that and not worry about the product rather than concentrate on the capability if you are playing the role of a project manager?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Some of them I cover in my session. So let's take it at the end, right? Yeah, let's give. Please
So
remind me at the end.
yeah.
Go ahead. Any more questions? Okay. Yeah, keep them coming. I mean, let's keep it more interactive. Now, yeah, no, you know that this is a mini CEO role, a very impactful role. Now, yeah, the next question is, okay, how do I become a product manager, right? So the basic requisites of a product manager role in the industry today, if you are looking for a product manager tech role, previous product management, previous product development experience will be helpful, or a degree in computer science is usually helpful. Yeah, so I did not have a degree in product computer science, but I was a developer, right, for the first 6 years of my career. So that really helped me, become a product manager tech, right? But yeah, if you don't have tech experience, that doesn't stop you, right? There are always enough business facing roles. You just talk to customers, understand their real problems, and then you define the solutions. So yeah, I think even if you don't have tech experience, that's not a blocker. I would say if this role appeals to you, you should continue focusing on this one. An MBA is a plus because the product manager is all about understanding really what does the customer want, right? So, and I think Steve Jobs of Apple has a very good quote that customer doesn't know what he wants until he sees it, right? I mean, when you go, it happens with me a lot of times, right? I mean, I go talk to customers, they tell me I need XYZ, and the moment we sit, really understand what is it that they want, it's usually very different from what they said at the outset, right? Because see, not all of us are trained to understand that, okay, this is my goal, this is my objective, right? So generally they state you what are the needs, but now it's product manager's job to break it down to really understand what is the motivation, what is the objective behind it. And sometimes customers may give you solutions because that's how we think, but yeah, we should stay away from the solutions and just look at, okay, this is my customer problem. Now, how do you best solve it, right? You come up with various solutions, you look at pros and cons of it, you estimate the effort, and then you go with the best solution. So yeah, I think that's a product manager role again. So just a interesting tidbit, right? I mean, 1931 was the year when the first product manager was hired in a company called Procter and Gamble. Until then, yeah, I mean, the industry did not know of the concept of product manager. So I think mostly, customers used to give the requirements, the development team used to consume them, or a manufacturing team used to consume them, and then they just build products. But then 1931, someone in Procter and Gamble realized that we need a brandman there. That's what they call it, brandman. They need to really understand what the customer wants, translate them into requirements, and work with the customers to understand whether their needs are being met. So yeah, that's how they started, Procter and Gamble, and then HP followed. And yeah, now I think product manager is like an essential job without which you cannot survive, right? And again, another interesting tidbit is that of all the roles that will be automated by 26 or 27, product manager in the list of them is the fourth toughest role to automate. So again, good thing, right, for us to be in a role where it's very tough to automate, because this role deals with really understanding what a customer wants, and always, the toughest has been human psychology, right? Understanding what do people want and translating them to very simple requirements that technical developers can consume and build. So yeah, that's where I think AI is, many years away from taking away product manager's job. But development, yeah, I think it's almost taking it away. And you can generate lines of code, right? Seamless lines of code, and yeah. So yeah, there are roles that are easy to automate. There are roles which are tough to automate. And product manager, is sitting at the top of the value chain where it's very difficult to automate. The strategy, the vision, understanding customer requirements. Yeah, it's like not so, easy job to automate. So yeah, I think now how do I prepare for the interview, right? I mean, let's say having an MBA is a plus because it deals with marketing, it deals with finance. So yeah, the way I interview, I have interviewed over thousands of candidates, not thousand probably, hundreds plus in my career for product management. And I always look for whether this guy has an MBA. MBA is a plus, but not having is not a deterrent. And previous development experience is a plus. If they don't have it, depending on the role, right? I also have just product manager non-techs I'm hiring for at the moment. I also have product manager tech roles where I need more of a tech experience, the design knowledge, etc. So, so usually, when you prepare for the interview, right, what are they asked in these interviews? So they ask for past experience, right? And any product manager resume needs to have impact, right? I mean, whenever I look at a resume which has things like I coordinated XYZ and launched something without saying what is the benefit you created, yeah, that's like a big no for me. I just don't go beyond that. I reject the candidate. But any CV which has very carefully drafted bullet points like led or spearheaded XYZ initiative to develop X feature to give Y benefit to my company, right? Now this is like very clear, telling me that okay, this product manager is thinking back for some customer, what is the benefit he has created, what has he launched. So yeah, I think right from the CV, you have to be very careful on how you position your thinking. You have to show in your CV that you're customer obsessed. And let's talk about customer obsession. That's like one of the key pillars of how Amazon operates. So yeah, in your CV, let's make it very short, not 3 pages, definitely no. The moment a CV goes to more than 2 pages, I tune off, right? And that's how the industry trend is, right? I mean, anything, 1 page is awesome. If you are able to condense your entire journey of your career in 1 page, amazing. If not, 1.5 pages, yeah, max. Beyond that, yeah, no one is going to read your CV. So yeah, I mean, just on CV, probably we can take another session if people are interested. That's like a huge, different ball game. And then, yeah, in the past experience, yeah, you're asked on. Usually, the question that I ask, and I have seen my peers ask, is, tell me about one difficult feature that you have built for customers, and walk me through the end-to-end journey, right? So it's not about what have you built; it's more about starting where, what is the problem, what is the size of the problem, how did you identify that there is a problem when all the people were oblivious, and you jumped in and said, no, this is a problem I need to solve for customers because the impact was XYZ, right? And impact has to be super clear. And then you went ahead and said, okay, you presented it to your top management, you got the buy-in, you got the funding of resources, and then you defined this is going to be a solution. You did a trade-off, right? Multiple solutions you evaluated, and then you went ahead with one solution, you developed, you launched, you did a go-to-market strategy, right? End to end, right? So yeah, what we're looking for is this end-to-end experience from conceptualization to launch. And what did it take for you to iterate? Right? Probably every first launch is like very bad, right? Any mobile phone launches or any Amazon app launches. Yeah, the first launch is always that you try to meets the bare minimum requirements. But the crux lies in, okay, how do you take the feedback and how do you improve on top of it? So yeah, past experience is something I grill on in the telephonic interview. We ask a lot of, okay, tell me a feature where you have launched, and we ask a lot of technical questions there, right? And how did you decide this is the best solution? What was the design like, etc. And then there are behavioral questions, right? I'll cover a few of them later on in my presentation. So behavioral questions can be like, and Amazon asks a lot of behavioral questions, right? I mean, like for example, uh, if it can be like, okay, tell me a situation where you had to go identify the real problem. The problem from the outset was different. You had to dig deep several layers in, and then you realize the real problem was very different. How did you solve? Now, this is a behavioral question, but if you look at it, right, we call it peel the onion approach. The question may look something, but ultimately it's a product management question, right? I mean, we keep peeling the layers, we keep taking you to product management basics and keep asking you, why did you prioritize this? What was the solution? Yeah, again, the same things. But yeah, it might look like it's a behavioral question, but it's not, right? I mean, that's the, trick. And now we also do a lot of product design, and product design is the basic, right, bread and butter of any product manager. So product design is like, yeah, we give very ambiguous questions. Like, yeah, one of my favorites is, how do you design Facebook for blind, right? So, or how do you design a bathroom for blind? One of my interviews that I had to take, someone asked me how to design a bathroom for blind people. Now, yeah, I have to think. That's all I know. I don't know whether this is a blind old person, blind kids, right? And what does the bathroom mean? Does it have a tub? Not have a tub? Should there be a tub for a blind person? Obviously not, because he might drown in it. So yeah, I mean, the whole question is to, the whole concept is to give you a very uncertain situation, very ambiguous situation, and see how do you use your structured frameworks to solve a problem that you don't know enough about, right? You make your assumptions, right? You first thing you understand, okay, what is the problem really, right? I'm designing a bathroom for blind, but why, right? I mean, you ask the question that, okay, who are these blind people? Why do I have to design? Yeah, probably because they don't have a bathroom at their homes, or the current bathrooms don't meet their needs. They fall, they get injured, and hence I have to design, right? Now, who are these blind people? Can I make assumptions that I'm only designing for blind young folks? Yeah, the interviewer says yes, yeah, go ahead and make that assumption. Now, look at what are the goals, right? I mean, is the goal for me to have a injury-free experience, or is the goal to have a delightful experience for a blind person, right? And the design can be very different for both of them. And then you understand the use cases, you design features, you prioritize, etc. So this is a product design question. And the metrics thinking, right? So I mean, Amazon focuses a lot. Every other company also, for product management role, we focus on data, right? Data-driven decision making. So you should be super aware of what you're trying to improve, which success metric you're trying to improve, and the features that you're going to launch, the process changes that you're going to make, what is the impact they're going to have on each of these metrics, right? For example, the Uber example that we talked about. If someone is launching a feature, like let's say you're launching a ride sharing experience. So currently, let's say Uber doesn't have a ride sharing experience, and you are launching a ride sharing experience. You want multiple people to book the same ride. You want them to travel together to reach the common destination. So now, what are the metrics I'll measure, right? One of the metrics is number of ride shares in a given day, right? Number of customers who previously could not take a shared ride, could not take a ride because it was too costly. Now there is less cost, right? So that number of increase in number of rides, increase in number of customers, reduction in cost for the customers, the revenue for Uber, a number of metrics you can think of, and you start measuring them. So yeah, that's another thing. Estimation questions. Yeah, all of them I have in my next slides. Let's go there rather than spending a lot of time here. Okay, so for a past experience, right, you need to have a compelling story to tell, right? It's always easy when you have very good stories, people connect, right? So I think this is a very good quote that I love, that those who tell stories rule society, right? I mean, amazing truth. And I was not a storyteller. I had to learn it the hard way. I mean, you have to be a real good storyteller. No matter what the question is, you say, the ultimate reality is people are expecting that, there was a world that was burning. You came in, you identified the problem, you solved it, and people are super happy, right? That's the theme of every movie that you see. And that's the same with the interviews also, right? People are expecting that, you tell them that there is a problem, and you came in, you were the hero, you solved the problem, and this is the result. So yeah, for any past experience question, you start with the star format, like the situation, what is the task, what are the actions, and what is the result, right? So we are looking very strongly for this structure, right, in the mind. And again, this is helpful for not just product management, for any interview that you attend in your life. Make it very structured, right? And that's how people will be able to follow, because you were the person who were first hand solving something for customers, but the interviewer doesn't know anything about it. But for him to understand that and follow in the first, probably you have 5 minutes for the question, right? So it's very important that they give them a structured response. The moment you have a structured response, it shows that you have thought through you are prepared, and really you have done the problem, right? You have solved the solution for customers. So yeah, I mean, every response, irrespective of the interview, have a format. Like, this was the situation, this was a task that I took up, and these were the actions that I had to do, and ultimately results, right? And results always show the numbers. Sometimes you may have to do some, very creative guessing of what is the impact. It's fine. I mean, do that, and also state your assumptions, right? I mean, let's say this feature improved your customer, funnel by X%. You can take guesses that, okay, that means my total revenue is 2 billion. If I improve it by 1%, 2 billion, 1% of 2 billion is Y, right? If someone has a problem with the approach, they'll challenge. But yeah, always have numbers. And yeah, be ready with the top 3 product launches, right? If you are previously in product management role or whatever role that you are, right? And see, I have seen enough candidates who sell their non-product experience also as product management, right? For example, you were in a program management role, you launched a process, you did a process revamp, or you are in a finance role where you created a new insurance package, whatever, right? It is a product, right? Ultimately, you are delivering some service, some product to customers. They're gaining value out of it. You're taking feedback and improving it. So yeah, there is a way to position. So yeah, just think about what are the 3 top solutions that you have built, and how did you go about doing it. So yeah, some of the sample questions are like, tell me about time when you had to roll back a product launch, you launched it and then you realized it's not meeting the customer needs. What did you do to fix it? Did you roll back, right? And this is my favorite one. Walk me through the process of the most complex feature you launched, right? And when someone talks about it, yeah, then we cross question asking, okay, why is it the most complex? What was complex? Why was it ambiguous? How did they decide there's value? Right? Yeah. So now the product design, yeah, this is very interesting. And product design is something that got me interested in the product management role. So when I was doing my MBA, I started my MBA thinking I'll also be an investment banker, right? Or a consultant, management consultant. But what I realized is, like, all the management consultants in the top companies like McKinsey, right? BCG, they don't deliver solutions, right? They just give you a PPT, they identify the problem, they give you a recommendation, they walk away. But a product manager is one role that identifies the problem, defines the solution, launches the solution, and then also measures it and iterates, improves over time, right? So this is an end-to-end solution specialist compared to a management consultant or any other consultant who does just consults, gives a solution, and walks away. So that's where I think between a management consultant and product manager role, this role, I really love it because you are solving real customers, you are witnessing the impact of those launches, in front of your eyes, right? I mean, you launch something, you see customers delighted, right? And you really enjoy. So one such example is in Snapdeal, I launched a image review feature, right? So Snapdeal did not have image review feature. So the way I positioned it is, we called it selfie, right? Your selfie with product. Just because, yeah, back then selfie was you're just starting the selfie culture. So we said, okay, you buy a product from Snapdeal, you take a selfie with the product, you post it there. And we also gave, okay, number of likes, yeah, all of that gamification we added. So yeah, I mean, there was a customer who ordered a sari for his wife on her birthday, and I, as a product manager, was reviewing. It was the first day of launch. Was looking at all the images that are there, and this really caught my eye, right? And then we as Snapdeal have the address. So what we did was we sent a cake uh, to this person's wife on her birthday, and they were super delighted. One, with the product experience. Now they love sharing their story with the product, and also the connection aspect, right? Where we send something personal to them. So yeah, as product manager, you get this kick out of solving customer problems, and when you see that the customers are delighted, yeah, you really enjoy it. So all the pain that you have to go through to launch something, yeah, you get the reward for it, right? So yeah, the interview, right? You get a lot of design and product questions, right? For example, yesterday I was taking an interview. I was asking a product manager that if you are a product manager for a book summary app, because nowadays I think you see a lot of book summary apps, right? I mean, reading a full book is now out of the date. I mean, outdated. You just read the summary, and yeah, you just get the gist out of it. So if you are the product manager of this book summary app, what are the next 5 features you will build for it, right? So that's my, one of the questions. So, or the question can be, how do you design Alexa for toddlers, right? I mean, for example, my kid is now a toddler. And yeah, he speaks in a very broken sentence. And Alexa, I mean, thankfully it understands. When he says play Baby Shark, Alexa is able to get it, and then it plays Baby Shark, right? So now, yeah, what are the aspects of toddler use cases that Alexa should be designed to handle? So that's the question, right, for someone, for product manager to answer. And most things where people get stumped is we usually expect a digital product like an app, but there can be an offline product also, right? And one of the favorite questions of interviewers is how do you design a digital alarm for blind, right? So blind cannot see, but they want alarm to wake up and to be on time. Now, how do you design it? That's a very interesting question, right? It can be, okay, how do you design uh, yeah, it can be anything, right? I mean, let's say a smart kitchen, a smart bathroom. Yeah, it can be in offline world. It can be a digital world. Yeah, whatever. I mean, but the ultimate skill set to design is the same, right? You as a product manager really understand what are the customer pain points and you solve them. And there are questions on improving product, like as a product manager for Netflix, right? What are the top features you will launch, right? If the goal is I want more and more people to spend more time on Netflix, ideally you should not be doing it, but I mean, that's how the people do. Facebook product manager's goal is to increase the number of time wasted on Facebook, right? And Netflix is the same, right? We need to increase engagement. How many folks are consuming, how many movies, how many series, what else can I make on the product to make them stick, right? For example, Netflix gives you recommended, right? Recommended movies. This is because they want you to, after watching a movie, because you liked it, they want you to watch more and more movies of the similar kind. So yeah, that's how you increase the engagement. And that again is a product manager job, right? And again, another question that Google asks a lot is, what is the favorite product and why, right? I mean, let's say you pick uh, yeah, whatever it is, right? Like Ola or Book My Show is my favorite product because it helped me go to my favorite movie, or yeah, whatever. So you have to explain why it's your favorite product, because there's a clear objective. It meets your objective in the most simple way, right? And it also rewards you for it. So now this is my favorite product. You talk about what is the best experience there, what are the things that you want to improve, right? So you should be ready. So no, this is the core framework that I keep following and I keep asking all the product managers to follow is the circles method, right? And it's like naturally everyone should be doing it for any problem that they're solving, not just product management. The circles, it calls C for comprehend situation. You understand what, why, how, right? See, I have almost rejected 50% of the product management candidates in my life, whoever has applied, basically because the moment I give them a problem, they just jump in and say, okay, no, this is my solution. So yeah, we're not looking for people who want to jump into solutions without understanding the real problem, right? If I say, uh, okay, design Alexa for toddlers, right? I want people to ask me back, okay, what do you want Alexa to do, right? What do these toddlers want to do? Right? Do they want to listen to their favorite songs on toddler? Do they want to do some time pass, or do they want to learn on Alexa? So what is their goal? What is the objective? Who are toddlers, right? I think toddlers are from age 1 to age 5 who just are learning how to speak. They have broken sentences, and you check your assumptions, you correct them before you jump into solutions. So I think that's very critical. You comprehend the situation, and the next step is very, very critical that you identify the customer, right? If you go back to the Uber example, right?
I,
Go ahead, sorry, someone speaking.
yeah, Assalamu alaikum. I have a generic question that you were just talking about an interview question where you described a project management related question and people jump to answer the question without asking who, what, or why. In a similar context, I have a generic question. So there may be times where in an interview, it might not be related to project management, but in an interview generally, you might not understand the question. So you is it okay to ask additional questions trying to understand the question, or would that show you in poor light, as in not understanding the question or not understanding the topic or technology, and rather make the interviewer feel that you might have exaggerated in your resume, you might have put in additional points that you actually haven't had practical experience about. So there are two thoughts about it, right? Asking questions might give the interviewer the other thought as well, that this person doesn't know this. This is a basic question, he should understand all these things. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? And yeah, my take, and I think everyone in the industry will agree that it's always best to ask your clarifying questions, right? And if you're doing too much of it for every question, probably this can be a negative. But then, yeah, wherever you don't understand the question, you restate the question, right? You say, okay, let me restate the question. This is how I have comprehended it. Am I right? You state your assumptions and then let the interview correct you, right? See, the downside of not doing it is you end up answering a question without understanding it. Let's say you answered the wrong question, and then you'll get heavily penalized, right? I mean, yeah, it's a huge no for any interviewer that he asked a question on X, you understood as Y, and you answered it, right? So yeah, it's always best to ask clarifying questions, and I really value a candidate who asks clarifying questions, right? And few good candidates I have interviewed, they are the ones who restate my question and say, okay, this is how I understood it. Am I right? And I say, yeah, you're right. And sometimes I say, no, I'm correct. And say, no, no, this aspect of the question, you got it wrong. It is something else. So yeah, always best to ask clarifying question. But if you're doing it too much in one interview, yeah, that's a challenge, right? So pick where, let's say it's a very simple question, like tell me about yourself. Yeah, you don't need to ask for clarifying questions, right? But if there's a complex question, like ambiguous question, like, okay, design a bookshelf for kids. You definitely, I want you to ask clarifying questions like, oh, kids, what do you mean by kids, right? And what is a bookshelf? It's again, it can be a digital bookshelf. Again, I'm just making it up. Is it just a bookshelf? Where is it? How is it used, etc.? Yeah, you have to ask a ton of questions. And yeah, sometimes it also turns off a customer, the interviewer, if you're asking too many questions. Then you have to say that, yeah, you have to judge by body language. You ask one or two questions and then say, I have more, but can I make assumptions? And the person will say, yeah, please go ahead and make your assumptions and state them. So fine, yeah, then you start making your assumptions and saying, okay, I assume X, I assume Y, and then you go ahead with your solution. I hope that answers.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. So I'm Mohammed Akib. I have completed an MBA. Sorry, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I have completed an MBA in business analytics. I'm looking for a job last 8 months, but I won't get any leads. And I also did a internship as a business analyst. I work on 3 projects. One is ERP, one is API integrations, and also one is in insurance verification softwares. So I'm looking for a job in last 8 months. So what should I do?
Okay. So which area are you focusing on, right? I mean, which jobs are you applying?
Yes, sir.
Which jobs are you applying to, right? Which
So
kind
as
of,
a junior BA.
okay, junior BA. Okay. Okay, yeah, we can talk offline, right? I can help you, please ping me on WhatsApp and yeah, we can take it forward from there.
Okay. So can you share your number, please?
Yeah, I think Saif brother has it, or I
Okay.
can write it.
I also send a connection request on your LinkedIn account.
Awesome. Yeah, let's connect there. Yeah, that's good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, any personal questions and how to, make progress? Yeah, happy to help, right? And yeah, please do reach out. So we have 5 minutes. I'll try to wrap up, and then if needed, we can have another conversation. So yeah, you identify customers, you identify the personas. Like for example, the
Sir,
Uber example.
also one question.
What?
Yes, sir. I want to become a project manager. So how I start my journey?
Okay. Yeah. Again, this is more on product management. There's a difference between project and product management.
Yes.
And yeah, we can talk about it, right? So yeah, for project manager, it's a different skill. You will need a PMP kind of a training, right? And yeah, and product management is more about all the things I talked about. So yeah, these are different roles. Let's understand what they exactly want. Is it product or project management? And then accordingly, I can guide you.
Okay, sir. Actually, in YouTube, product Isual is one of the best resource for project manager.
Okay,
Any
yeah,
YouTube
see,
resource where I can
okay,
learn basics.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources on YouTube. I can search and share, right? And on my last slide for product management, I have shared a lot of resources, the books, right? And yeah, when I call you, let's discuss, right? And what is it exactly that you're
Okay, sir.
looking for? What are the resources
Okay,
I can share? Right? So coming back, yeah, the customer personas, right, that you define that if it's my Uber app, right, I'm a daily office going person, my age is 20 to 35, and my needs is that I want to go to office at a fixed time every day, come back from office at a fixed time every day. So now that is my customer persona. There are also, kids who go to school, right? Their users persona is very different, right? I mean, their needs are like, yeah, I need to pool with a number of other students, I need to go to my school, come back. And they can be old people who use for the daily chores, right? And what are their needs, and their needs are very different. And yeah, these are again different persona. There's a traveler, right, who goes on occasional travel. They are in a new country or a new city. They may not have all the payment options with available with them. Now that's a different customer persona, right? So we define the customer personas, and for each of them we define very carefully drafted customer journeys. And we also, next step is to report customer needs. But okay, this is if my customer is a office going person, his needs is XYZ. I want XYZ so that I get to my office on time. Exactly. So, and you cut through, you do a lot of prioritization. What is the ROI? Like someone asked. Exactly. ROI is the thing we look at. So if I have 10 different problems I want to solve, for each of them, I create ROI estimate and look at, okay, which is the most bang for the buck? Which feature can give me the most bang for the buck? You list solutions, all right, and all the available solutions. You look at trade-offs, right? Something might give you, like I said, 5 million per SD benefit, and the trade-offs might be that this is complex to build, it requires science, research, right? And yeah, few of them can be very simple to build, but give you a lot of returns. So accordingly, you look at trade-offs, you pick the best features to build, and then you summarize recommendations. So this is the circles method, very useful in the interviews and very useful in the product manager job as well. So me and all my product manager team, we always use this method to define my roadmaps, to define customer features, whatever, right? So yeah, this is like the basics. Yeah, so I'll skip some of the metrics I think we spoke about. What are all the metrics you measure to, define if the product is successful. Okay. And yeah, there are a lot of estimation questions that are asked. This requires a lot of thinking, right? And this is one area which I find really tough. Like all of a sudden they say, how many mails do Indians get on Gmail average in a year? Now, yeah, all of a sudden you don't know where it's coming from, right? I mean, then you make your assumptions. Like in India, we have a population of 1 billion. Of that, let's assume that 10% have access to internet, which brings it down to 0.1 billion. Now, within the 0.1 billion, how many do you think have Gmails? And then each person, on an average in a given week, including all the junk mail we get, we make assumptions, right? And a person who's working might get more emails, person who's getting not working, but yeah, based on the junk mail, he gets X, Y numbers. So you make such assumptions, you move forward and you come up with a solution. So this is testing the core skill of a product manager, right? You are given a very ambiguous question, but you try to make sense of it, you add structure, you have a very structured way of problem solving, right? And that's how, yeah, you tackle these questions. There are a number of them on internet, you can search for them. And yeah, this is in general will help you for any product, any interview, but yeah, more for product management interviews. Yeah, these are like very common, like tell me about yourself, why do you want to work here, why should we hire you? Even these, I think you can do a lot of preparation and really sell, right? Because a thoughtful answer is always good. If someone says, this is my skill, this is your requirement, and there is a 100% match between my skill and your requirement, and that's why I want to work here. Right? Great job. I mean, yeah. So every question needs a lot of work, right? I mean, that's why I think preparing for an interview, it takes a lot of time, but yeah, you need to be thoughtful, intentional, and answer the questions. And before going to any company, do a research of what are the products the company have, who are the competitors, what is the revenue, what is the strategy, yeah, etc. I mean, all of it is like it's a given, right? And again, I'll skip this. Very specific companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they ask technical questions also, like algorithms, data structures to product managers, because they want this person to be fully technical, right? But not all companies do it, so we can skip this. There are strategy questions which I think product manager is expected to answer. Like, for example, do you think Amazon should enter smartphone market? right? If yes, which market, how and why? This was the question that I was asked in an Amazon interview, right? And yeah, I could come up with an answer, very structured answer on, yeah, do I think Amazon should enter smartphone market? Which countries it should target? Which kind of smartphones it should make, right? And what is the audience, etc. Similarly, do you think Google should launch a social networking site? It killed it. That beats Facebook? Yes, no, why? Yeah, all of those questions. They are all strategy questions, right? So for strategy, you have very, good frameworks that you can use to help answer a question. I won't get into all the frameworks. It will take a lot of time there. Yeah, so product strategy, etc. Let's skip it. I think again this will take a lot of time. We can cover it if needed later. But yeah, in general, product strategy is a high-level plan, right? That defines how a product achieves the business objectives. So yeah, you define goals, you define vision, you define your key pillars, and you also define, okay, how am I going to meet them year on year? And product roadmap is, again, it's like a very defined plan that this year in 25, based on my key metrics, I have prioritized XYZ features. It's going to give me X benefit. In 26, it's going to give me Y benefit, X features, right? It's all about timeline execution, how we are going to launch and what are the metrics, how do you define success?
I have one question, Asif.
Sure.
I wanted to build one product, so I was looking for any the steps to be followed for a new product launch. Means what should be the criteria, or do you have experience on those, like how to launch or what are the key steps to be followed? I got some of the inputs, but this is about the existing application, and you are trying to come up with the new features. If it is a totally like MVP type of thing, can you share some thoughts on that?
Sure. See, we can also connect offline, but yeah.
Yeah,
See,
sure.
ultimately, this comes back to the same framework, right? You understand who's your customer base, what are the needs, you look at your competitors today, how are they solving the features, how are they solving these problems, and do you also see gaps, right, in how they are solving this problem today? And that's where you define your value proposition, right? The key is you define who is my customer base. Let's say, you have 4 or 5, you define customer personas, but out of those 5, you define that, let's say office going folks are my key persona I want to focus on. And then you also define what is the value prop, right? For them, there are other products doing it, but what will my product do differently? What is my unique value prop? And that's how you define. And you also look at how much are you going to get from it? Ultimately, no one is doing anything for free, right? This is a business. So if there are 1 million office goers, of them, can you target 10%? And each of them, will they be willing to pay $10 per week or 10 rupees per week, right? And then so much revenue you can make. So first thing is clearly understanding that part of who is your audience, what are you trying to solve for them. And then see, you can use some of the frameworks like Porter's 5 forces, right? This is about, I look at my competitors, I look at my suppliers, right? And I look at my, I think, yeah, there are about 5 forces that are there in industry. If you can search for it, you will be getting it, right? So look at all the forces, and in this new market, who are the established players? How much market share do they have? Who are my competitors? What are the alternatives? Right? For example, right, for all the products that we build, Excel is an alternative, right? We don't need a real optimization product, but Excel already has it. So Excel is my alternative. So similarly, you look at the alternatives, you look at the market for each of them, and then you see, okay, now is this market right for me to do? Will it solve the problem? Is there value for me to go do it, etc. Right? So I think this is a big problem to tackle. And yeah, we can talk offline.
Yeah, one more just add-on question. How long we should stay if we should again switch to some other thing, right? How long we should try it out? Like all the research should happen. Should have 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, like that. Yeah. A short answer should be fine.
Okay, yeah. So there's no straightforward answer, right? There are people, CEOs of successful products who stick around for 5 years, 10 years, and all of a sudden a small pivot helped and the product became successful, right? And there are people who complete their analysis in 1 or 2 months, go ahead and launch successful or unsuccessful products. So yeah, there is no straightforward answer there. But yeah, as long as, right, you have a vision, you are solid on the vision, right? And you know that currently if the product is not doing well, you know the factors, right? you know that your product is not meeting XYZ use cases, and you are very confident from customer feedback, from interviews, that given I provide these features, I'm going to turn around the fortunes for my product. I think you should still, go ahead, right?
Yeah.
Because see, I think
Like
entrepreneurship.
Amazon itself, this waited without profits to 7 years, right?
Exactly. Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
So because Amazon, even there were interviews where Jeff Bezos, people laughed at him. They said, "What is your revenue?" He said, "It's negative." And people said, "So what are you doing really? I mean, is it a business?" Right? But yeah, he had this strong conviction that I'm just laying a railroad right now, right? This is like for all the people to come onto internet. This currently is only 1%, 2% people are on the internet in the world. If 10% come onto this, yeah, that's where my profits will start. So that's why I think having a strong conviction, your vision, and then yeah, you stick around until it makes sense to you. Yeah. So yeah, there's no straightforward answer for that one. But yeah, I mean, you need to have your guardrails on. Okay, that's why the analysis helps, right? So this is the market. This is what I'm solving. Currently, if I add XYZ more features, I think my product will do better. You try it out. Before jumping in, you always try pilots, right? You just build dirty features, quick and dirty, try it out. If it's working, you double it up.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sayyid Umar. Basically, I have completed my MCA in 2016 and having a 15 years of work experience in the service industry. So I am familiar to how to gather the information or the customer needs, how to satisfy with them while doing the multiple things at a time. So what could be the roadmap for me for this position of product manager? Can you please guide me for this?
Okay, so just summarizing, so what course did you use? Did you say MCA?
Basically, I have passed out MCA, Master of Computer Application,
Okay.
in 2016, and I am having a 15 years of work experience in a customer service industry. It is
Okay.
in automobile industry, and I have represented a brand like the Jaguar Land Rover, Toyota, as well as Tata Motors, like that.
Okay.
So this job profile is just about the handling the critical customer handling, as well as how to make your customer satisfy from the various products or some kind of problem with, if they faces during their vehicle journey. So I have tackled all these things, also collaborated with the vendors as well as the parent company stakeholders, as well as there is a team work under me, the team of 60 people. So what could be the roadmap for me for this product manager position? Because of I also understand the SWOT analysis, which is the nothing but the strengths of the individuals or the company or the weaknesses. And after this, what kind of opportunities will come in front of us, and what could be the threat to succeed in that opportunity? So I'm aware about this because I'm one of the key person in the management in the decision making. So can you please suggest me what could be the roadmap, or what kind of things I should do for like that, please?
Yeah, sure. So see, I think, yeah, you have good experience, right? And first thing you will start with positioning your experience in the right way for this role, right? So this is the product manager role. You might have done customer surveys, you might have done solutions to created solutions for people. Now you position them in the right way for a product manager role. For example, let's say you help solve why customers for why problems for customers that will help you save XYZ millions, right? So you
Yeah.
position your experience in such a way. First thing is to start with the CV, and then you have very solid examples from your career on how you help do it. And I would also do some of the product management trainings available on the internet, right? And
Okay.
I would say don't start with the tech role, because tech role, again, it's very demanding. They would expect you to have development experience. There are, product management, business facing roles. You start with them. And
Okay.
again, a tip to everyone is, don't start with big companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft. These people are looking for, people who are already product managers, and they really pay well. So that's why they look for a lot of, backgrounds like MBA, etc. Start with
Okay.
startups, start with service industry where you still need product managers, but the demand, the requirements are not so high. So you start small,
Okay.
get into the product manager role, you do well, and then you try to establish yourself as a product manager, right? And see, But once you're in the role, all the things that I talked about will help you excel, right? You always work backwards from customers, you prioritize, you create a vision, etc. But yeah, for you, I think for now, the roadmap should be that you create a great CV, happy to review it, and then all your work experiences, try to position them in such a way that you are solving the problems for customers and this is the impact. Ensure that you are always a product manager at heart. You are looking at problems and solving them, and then look for breakthroughs, right? I mean, again, it's very difficult. It's not easy trying to get into a product management role first time, right? But once you get
Okay.
it, you can make both strides into it. So you look at all the available roles in the market and you shortlist more from startups or service industry. And especially, let's say you work more on the service industry and there are product managers in service side, it's an easy match, right? So see, any interviewer is looking for some of the matches. At least not 100% things can be matched, but at least there had to be few matches from your past experience. So you try to tailor your resume to the requirement, and then you go sell yourself, and that's how you land any role. So I would say start with that and identify the industries you want to get into, where you will be able to add value, and which roles you want to apply. And this is like homework that I will do, and then you start applying, and then you start interviewing, and then you can get the role, inshallah. So it's a
Okay.
broad level. That's the thing. If you want any more personal help, I can do. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. I will connect with you over the
I
one-to-one
hope
call section. Jazakallah khair.
Okay. Go ahead. I think we are 12 minutes over. I can go on for 3 more minutes.
Assalamu alaikum. I have one question. If you can, we need there is a lot of noise in getting technical product managers, especially in Microsoft. What I have learned over the time, and what they do is
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
If they are lead developer managers, they don't export. Am I audible?
Sorry, I could not hear you. Can you please repeat? You were not clear.
Okay. Meanwhile, shall I go ahead? Assalamu alaikum, Asif bhai. Thanks for sharing your experiences. I'm into program management for almost like 4 years, and before that, I have experience of around 10 years. So I'm trying to switch to product management. But for most of the roles that I have been reaching out, either they're looking for product management experience, and somehow or sometimes I don't even get a response. But you mentioned even without development background, with an MBA, you can get into product management. So how to get out of that curve? That is where I think I'm blindsided for almost 2 to 3 years. I'm not able to make any move there. So a guidance would be very helpful here.
So good question. I have product manager roles right now, and I get a lot of program management applicants, right? The hiring manager should see a value, right, in taking you, because he'll have to take you, train you in a product management role, and then give it to you, right? So what value can you add? You have to be very clear in articulating it. So when you apply, you tell the hiring manager that in the current role, I have taken stretch assignments of product management XYZ. I have delivered them. I also have product management trainings that I completed XYZ. And in my current role also, more or less, it's a program manager role, but I have done XYZ as a product manager to deliver, right? I think just positioning your previous experience, and also you are showing your willingness to learn, your curiosity to learn will help. But that said, see, now the market is tough. For any role, there are more product managers applying, right? So I
Yes,
have 10 product managers who are seasoned, who are applying, and I have 10 program managers who are willing to transition to product management role. My natural choice will be that, okay, why did I take someone, train him into product management? I don't know whether he'll be successful. Rather, I have people who have established themselves, they are seasoned, I can go with them, right? So I think you need to time your switch. Probably now it's a difficult time, but I would say keep trying, right? I mean,
Yes,
look for synergies. in the current role, whatever you have done. Let's say there is a product management role very similar to what you're doing today as a program manager. That's where your value prop is, right? I mean, you have done program management, you know the area, and now you want to become a product manager. Yeah, have a chat with the hiring manager, show what are your strengths, show that you're willing to learn, and show that you already made some steps towards learning. Yeah, definitely not easy, but yeah, not
Asif,
impossible as well.
just going back to the question I asked during the session, right, about the capability versus the product itself, right? How can you be product independent, not be dependent on a product, but more on the capability? How can one ensure that?
Yeah, sure. So see, I mean, ideally, every product manager should be doing it, right? I mean, the way we ask our product managers is work backwards from customer, define what are the customer pain points, define the capability, and then you see whether the current product meets them, doesn't meet them, etc. So yeah, if you follow this path, this framework, right, and that's how you can ensure that any one product manager is just working backwards from a customer pain point and the capability, and not from, okay, these are the features, I have to go adopt them. So again, in your world, it may be difficult because there is a product available, there are vendors who are supplying it, and you as a data or as a product manager, you're just trying to match, correct?
Right.
But then, yeah, even in that situation, right, keeping it simple and saying, this is my problem and this is the current capability offered, but these are the gaps, right? And then you can keep it focused on the capability. And even if the leadership says that, okay, for now the gaps, we don't have the resources to push for them or build them. But yeah, as a product manager, you would have done diligence saying, yeah, I am changing my process to meet these needs, but ultimately my need is X, which is not being met. You can keep highlighting it in your meetings with your leadership, right? But yeah, I mean, if I understand the question, ideally every product manager should be doing it, right? And yeah, just focusing on the capabilities, not on the features that are given by the current product.
Thank you for the responses and the session, Asif.
Thank you.
Hello, Assalamu sir. Myself
Thanks.
Ismail here. Sir, actually, myself is I am B mechanical and engineering background.
Yeah.
Development, what exactly happens in automotive industries, not into the software what you talk about. So now I'm switched to sourcing and supply chain department, wherein I manage of projects there. So I would like to get into project management actually, not exactly into product, but courses. I just wanted to know how to take this ahead to build a career in project management. So what courses will help? How to take over PMP courses, and so if at all if you could suggest any good trainer or how to go ahead with this, I just need some input from your end.
Sure. So I'm not a project management expert. All my life I have been a product manager. But yeah, what I have seen other program managers or project managers do is, start with the PMP course, get official certification, and yeah, I can search and share some of the resources which are, very good project management courses that will help you. But yeah, at this moment, I would say start with a PMP course, right? I mean, when you're officially certified as a PMP, then it means that you have the basics, you understand what it takes to run large programs, and you know what it takes to manage the resources, right, and to deliver the projects on strict timelines. But yeah, that said, yeah, my experience is limited, but I'll share what I have.
Asif bhai, please let know when you want to close.
Yeah, sure. I think we are done. We can take one more question and we can just close. I hope this was useful. And for anything else, yeah, you can.
Excellent. People are still asking questions, getting
Assalamu
benefited.
alaikum.
So,
Yeah, last question from Mark bhai.
now? Yes, yes, yes. So my question is, to be a product manager, a lot of companies, what they're doing is promoting their tech leads into product management tool. This is for the fact I know, and how somebody from a non-tech background do not have any expertise in development or does not understand fully what development is about, but still wants to be a product manager, having known about all the methodologies, how to deliver the product end to end right from the scratch, designing to the delivery phase. So that is where I want to I wanted to ask the question, how we can, functional people can, pursue our journeys. And I'm just taking some examples. Microsoft, Amazon, they promote their tech leads to be a product manager because they understand that yes, the tech leads do have insight on the development part, so they can be a better manager over there, right?
Yeah. Good question and difficult one to answer. I have been a hiring manager myself, and yeah, see, obviously, I look for candidates who I can easily transition into the role. See, I want candidates who can start delivering on day one, right? Because I don't have time to train, or because there are always goals that are very difficult to meet, ambitious goals. So yeah, I mean, that's how any hiring manager will operate. And any candidate obviously will look from their side and think that, yeah, I have the required skills, but no one is looking at them. So see, the key is to show the value prop that to demonstrate the skills you have to the hiring manager, and convince him that he is willing to take that extra effort to hire you from a non-product background, to train you, to take the risk and transition you, right? That's where I think there has to be some synergy, right? I mean, let's say you are in a role where you understood product management, you have done it, you have to showcase, okay, what have you done? Though the official title was not product manager, I have seen people also doing it, right? Though the official title was not product manager, they on CV in a very creative way, they say my role was product manager, right? They mention it. In the bracket, they say role title as something else. But yeah, it happens in many companies, right? I mean, you don't have a product manager role, but that's what you're doing. So if you think that's the case, yeah, be creative with your CV. Mention what you have done as product manager. Show that you have the skill sets, and then yeah, have this conversation with the hiring manager. So in my experience, I have transitioned two business folks into product managers, into product manager tech. I'm also now promoting them into principal product manager. But yeah, I mean, it has been a successful journey, right? So when the person came in, I saw that he was a program manager. He did not have any product management skill set. I gave him a product management book, made him understand, made him learn the processes. I interviewed him. I saw the potential. But the synergy there was he understood the contact center space, the customer service space that we operate in really well. He was a program manager in customer service space. So that there I saw the value, right? He has business knowledge. He doesn't necessarily have the product management knowledge, which can be taught. And now I transition him to a very successful product manager who understands business in detail because he himself was a business person, and then now added more product management and tech skills there, and now it's a complete product, right? So again, no easy answer. It's you have to work it out the hard way. But yeah, look for areas, look for teams where your previous experience is going to add value as the program manager, and position your CV in a very creative way so that it shows what you have done as product manager. And then yeah, you start working with the managers, hiring managers, right? See, most of the hiring managers, even today I get 20 mails each day about prospective applicants, and out of them 15 are people who don't have product management experience, and 5 are seasoned product managers who have a lot of experience. So yeah, again, I have limited time, I have my goals to meet, so you can understand where I'll spend my time, right? But yeah, I hope the market will get better. I hope there'll be more roles going forward, and that's where I think people will be more willing to experiment and give chances to program managers or other folks who are trying to convert into product management roles. But that said, yeah, I would say still keep your hopes high, keep reaching out. There can be managers, right, who are willing to take the bet, but even they need to understand how you'll add value and what are the skill sets that you bring in, and yeah, you need to definitely work on improving your skill sets. So yeah.
Now, one question I have, like to the same thing what Mark was asking. Do we have something like how developers put it into GitHub, showcase their products? Is there anything they can do, or they have to look for only the startups? Because the bigger companies cannot hire them, and the startup is the only opportunity. Do you see those things?
Yeah. So see, I mean, even I started my journey as a product manager in a startup, right? Because obviously, I mean, I tell people that, I wanted to work in a startup because I want to learn, etc. But the reality is none of the big companies were willing to look at my CV, right? I mean, I am. So yeah, I started there, but see, working in a startup, will give you a lot of knowledge, right? So in my journey at Snapdeal, I worked as a product manager growth, as product manager marketing. In startups, you get a lot of experience, and that you can leverage and slowly make your way into any of the big companies. So yeah, definitely startups will be willing to look at people. They'll be willing at people who have different experience, but they'll be willing to experiment. So I would say start there, right? Wherever you are able to get a product management role, right? Just get it, because ultimately, once you have that on your CV, that's how you can transition into one of the established product management roles. It can be in service industry, for example. Infosys also has product manager roles. I think TCS also has. So again, some of these companies, right, they have more number of roles, and hence it might be easier to transition into them. I would say go target them, and and slowly you can make your way into some of the big product companies. But again, see, this question, I keep getting it. Again, it's very difficult to answer, right? Because for each person, their story is different. And how do they get into product management, whether they'll be successful, not successful. Yeah, there are a lot of variables. And at this moment, the market is also very unstable. We are hiring out of a lot of fight. I could get 3 product manager roles that I could open up for Seattle and Hyderabad this year. So yeah, same with any team, right? I mean, companies, given what happened in 2 years ago, everyone is trying to be very resourceful, very careful about hiring. So yeah, I think this will continue, and that's how things are getting challenging. But I hope, inshallah, I mean, things will get better, and there'll be more roles, and even people who are trying to switch, there'll be opportunities. But see, one general, I mean, tidbit that I'll give, one nugget of wisdom that I can give is, don't wait for a role, right? I mean, let's say if there comes a program manager to me who is showing that I was in a program manager role, I took the opportunity to create a product requirement document for XYZ feature. I worked with a developer offline. We built something. Here is the chatbot. Here is what I launched. So Alhamdulillah, I mean, we're looking for such candidates, right? So don't get bogged down by, okay, you don't have a role right now. Look at ways where you can already play the role, right? It can be offline. You can be a stretch project that you take in working with your manager. Let's do it, right? I mean, you see, they can be learning offline. Let's do it, and then go and challenge the hiring managers. Yeah, that's the best I can say. But inshallah, I hope the market will be better. Jazakallah, Zakir bhai.
Jazakallah, Asif bhai. I think we can close for today.
Sure.
And we can plan further sessions if required.
Okay. Inshallah.
Thanks everyone for joining. It was really nice, very useful. And I hope every one of us learned something new and very useful, very practical for all of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jazakallah khair. Everyone for time.
Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
You.